I've been a financial advisor for decades. And in this video, I want to show you a simple but powerful way to have more breakthroughs in your client acquisition process, in the way that you improve your business. We're talking about transformational improvements in the way you do business using AI and a good book. So I wanted to do a fun video about reading the great business books that are coming out all the time. The best advisors that I've ever met read lots of great big picture books, books that stimulate their thinking about ways to be an even better financial advisor than they are right now. But who's got time, right? Who's got time to read all these great books that are being published all the time? So I'm Mark Little, and before you roll your eyes or just move on to the next video, let me make this really simple. This is about using books that you already want to read, books that can change the way you approach your business, and then having a very focused AI-powered conversation to apply the ideas directly to your business. So let me walk you through how this works. I'm going to use an example of a book that I recommend that you start this process with. Give it a try. Back in 1987, I read a book that quite literally totally transformed the way that I acquired affluent, ideal clients. I read this book, and within a year, I went from last place in production at our firm to #1 top producer nationwide, as I said, in about a year. The book is called Non-Manipulative Selling by Tony Alessandra, Phil Wexler, and Rick Barrera. Now, I know all three of these guys now, but back then I was in my 20s. And I will tell you that when you go looking for this book in AI, make sure to tell AI that this is the 1987 edition of the book. Prior to that, the first edition was the edition that I actually read. And I was so relieved when about 6 years later in 1987, they came out with this edition that was substantially more in-depth, gave better examples. That's the one you want to focus on. So that book helped me stop chasing clients completely. I read that book and I started attracting ideal clients who trusted me. If I had not read that book, I might still be using outdated sales tactics and appointment setting techniques, things that my firm was twisting my arm to do it the way every other advisor does, and financial advisors still use those tactics. Those sales tactics, they don't work, especially with affluent clients, and they never did. But here's what I wish I had back then: AI. Now, today, what you can do is you can sit down and just have a conversation with AI about a book before you even buy it or read it. That's right. So you just pick a book. I'm suggesting start with this book, Non-Manipulative Selling, 1987 edition. But it could be any book. Just pick a book that looks promising, that you've wanted to read or you've heard someone recommend it, and then go to AI. I use ChatGPT. For this, you want to use voice mode. When you go on to the AI interface, there's usually a little microphone or something that'll allow you, rather than typing with the AI, you can actually have a conversation. That's the one you want. You want to just have a normal conversation, let's say while you're driving. My favorite times are downtime. You're walking the dog, or you're washing dishes, or you're in the car commuting. This is a perfect time. Turn AI onto voice mode. And all these AI platforms, including ChatGPT, which I use, they have mobile apps. You just download it from the App Store, and they all have voice mode that you can use right on your mobile device. So the AI comes up on your screen, you're driving, it's just saying, "How can I help you? What's on your mind?" or something like that. And you tell it, "I want to talk about a book. I want to have a conversation about, in this case, a book called Non-Manipulative Selling, the 1987 edition. Do you know that book? And the AI will say, yeah, absolutely. I know everything about that book. And then you just start asking questions. You're driving along, you're saying, so what's the book about? And it tells you. Then you ask, what are some of the insights or takeaways that would matter most to a high-end financial advisor like me? It'll tell you. Just keep going. Ask, for example, for a step-by-step breakdown of the book. If anything interests you, pause there. You can do a deep dive into specific ideas. You can just literally have a conversation with the AI. You can go as shallow as you want or as deep as you want. This is your experience and you're controlling it. You're telling AI where you want to go with the book and its concepts. Now, when I picked up Non-Manipulative Selling, there were 4 questions that I asked myself that changed everything. I encourage you to have a conversation about this particular book and ask these exact questions during your AI conversation. I'd write these down. Number 1, what's the difference between persuading and manipulating? And where do I currently fall on that spectrum in my client conversations? Now pause right there. Always end questions like that with, what do you need from me to understand what I'm currently doing so that you can answer my question? Keep in mind, AI doesn't know you. So when you ask a question like that, offer for it to ask you questions so that it's got everything it needs to give you a great response. Oh, okay, question number 2. How do I define win-win in my current client acquisition process? And how does that compare with the book's definition of win-win? Okay? Question number 3. Have I unconsciously adopted any high-pressure tactics under the guise of professionalism or urgency? Things that might seem salesy to them, but maybe I'm not aware of it. There could be blind spots. When I read that book, I realized I had some blind spots. Question number 4. Do I truly believe that my service that I'm providing right now to clients is in the best interest of the client? Or sometimes am I just trying to close the sale? Okay? Great questions. I recommend you ask those precise questions to AI as you go through this book, Non-Manipulative Selling. If you give AI a response to all of its questions about what you're currently doing, you'll have a great back and forth, almost like a coaching session that will help you transform what you're doing into a non-manipulative conversation with potential ideal clients. And that's going to trigger all kinds of back and forth with the AI that unlocks real insights for you. This conversation will move you from information to transformation. Normally, when you read a book, you're just taking it all in, you're soaking in all the information, and most financial advisors, especially me, I love to learn. I love new information. But this conversation with the AI about a book, it could lead to transformation because you're engaging. You're using real-life applications of what you're doing, and you're trying to blend them and merge them and harmonize them with the big concepts of the book, whatever the book is. And tell AI that's what you're looking for. You just say, I am looking for insights that might unlock a transformation in the way that I serve ideal clients, and even better ways, or maybe just better ways to run my business in general. Look, the reason I'm suggesting that you start with this book is because of what it unlocked for me. Did you realize that there are more people out there seeking a new advisor than you could possibly ever serve? This is what's really amazing. Those potential ideal clients, they're out there right now. We've just updated my research from 20 some odd years ago. 51% of multimillionaires say that they love their advisor, but that they would fire them and hire a more comprehensive advisor if they could find one. Do you realize how big the market is for your services? There are clients already out there looking for you. There are millions of multimillionaires that are out there looking for a better advisor. There's a good chance that you already know your next ideal client. You just haven't had the conversation yet. This book, Non-Manipulative Selling, these approaches that they talk about in that book will help you turn everyday acquaintances into clients by building trust, not pressure. So that's why I recommend starting with this book, but pick whatever books you want. Let me give you a few other books that I've read that had a true transformation in my life and in my business. I'd recommend any of these books to a high-end financial advisor to develop their business into something that is quite different and better than any other financial advisory firm in your market. So if your goal is to attract affluent, ideal clients, and you want some big ideas that might transform your thinking, how about this book? It's called The Star Principle by Richard Koch. Richard Koch, The Star Principle. A friend of mine wrote a book called 80-20 Sales and Marketing. The author's Perry Marshall, a mentor of mine, friend of mine. But this book was a bestseller, and it transformed the way I manage my business. How about a book called The Price of Tomorrow? You want to understand macroeconomics in a highly visionary way so you understand how inflation works, how the natural state of the free market is actually deflation, not inflation? Then read The Price of Tomorrow, written by Jeff Booth. And then I'll give you one more. It's called Abundance by Peter Diamandis, Diamandis. I believe he's a medical doctor. Peter Diamandis, he's written a bunch of really great books, but read the book Abundance. All I can tell you is if this resonates with you, I encourage you to read more books, but you don't have to read the book. You can have a conversation with AI, and you can get the takeaways from the book, and then you can decide if you want to go read the book. But these are the kinds of things that we encourage you to do in our program, The Mark of Mastery for Financial Advisors. It's no charge. It's a community of high-end advisors that are working for transformation. These are advisors who are trying to deliver service at a level that's not being offered in their market by any other firm. These are all advisors who want to make a significant difference in their client's life. Inside the program, you can share your new client acquisition plan after you read Non-Manipulative Selling. Put together a little plan of how to acquire ideal clients using these non-manipulative tactics. Look, everyone in our program is a peer of yours. They're all very high-end financial advisors. They're all focused on mastering non-manipulative selling and building a business that adds real value to our clients' lives. But we've got so many tools and content in the Mark of Mastery program that'll help you deliver a substantially higher level of comprehensive financial services. And I created this community 10 years ago, but starting last November, when I realized what an impact AI is having on our industry, you'll find a lot of content in the program on ways to harness AI in a way that works for affluent clients. And I'll give you a tip on that. Advisors who are harnessing AI effectively are going to replace the advisors who aren't. And there's a lot of financial advisors who are not effectively harnessing AI. But the thing about clients and AI, the more affluent, the more successful the client, the less they like automation. My theory is that market will be growing quickly, a market of clients that want to avoid automation completely. They'd rather just deal with a human. They don't want to deal with a robot. So we show you how to utilize AI in ways that'll knock your client's socks off, but without having them use the automation that they're trying to avoid. So here's your next step. Pick one of these books this week. Pick some book that you've always wanted to read. Then bring your book questions to the AI. Turn on voice mode. Just have a conversation, discuss the book while you're driving. It's that simple, and giving this a try, who knows, it might change everything.